All right, welcome to another episode of Fuel, Fire, and Freedom. This is the best, and I say that with authority, the best car podcast on anywhere where you can get your podcasts. But anyways, I'm here. I'm Brandon Bolach. I'm with my two good friends and professional mechanics, Jordan Hodap, Spencer Medley. They're joining us from Colorado and Illinois. And anyways, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. What's going on today?
Same old stuff. Another day.
Just
You guys,
lovely.
you guys don't like being introduced. That's what
No.
I've come to the realization. You guys don't like being introduced, but that's all right. I actually have a pretty good story for you guys. I need to look up what it's called. There's a medical term for it. It's like trepanation. Nah, I can't. I'm not even gonna say it because I'm gonna mess it up so bad. But yesterday, when I was installing that fast system on the truck, I happened to smash my finger terribly so, not on anything I was doing on the truck, but literally on the door to the garage. I just had my finger right in the hinge and just smashed it real badly. And I'm curious if you guys have ever done this, but if it's, when you smash it so bad, you've never smashed your finger? Yeah.
Never.
Never. Yeah.
When you smash your finger so bad that, you have the potential of losing your nail because there's so much pressure from underneath the nail that it can potentially pop off. And I was sitting there trying to sleep last night, and I just could not because my finger was throbbing so badly. And I've read about there's a way to relieve the pressure from underneath your nail, and there's a special term for it. It starts with a T. I can't even remember it, but basically the moral of the story is you take a needle, a very fine needle, you put it under a flame, get it red hot. You sterilize everything, and then you basically melt a hole through your nail to release the pressure from underneath your nail. And
Got to install a blow-off valve.
Yeah. Pressure relief valve is
pressure relief valve. Yeah.
Pressure
So moral of the story is there's a hole in my nail. There's a lot less blood underneath it, and I was actually able to finally sleep last night. So
there you go. It's fun when you squeeze it.
Yeah. So you've done that. You've done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time I've done. If you read on the internet, it's like, don't do this at home. Like, because they're concerned about you getting it infected. But
I haven't died yet, so we're good.
Yeah.
I've still got 10 of them.
Seems ridiculous.
I got 9.5, bro.
No, you got 9 3/4. It's just,
three quarter.
No, it's just so dumb. Not even on anything I was doing on the car, even though my hands are pretty beat up from doing that install. But yeah, just on the door. I mean, just getting it crunched. But all right. Well, on today's topic, we're gonna run through a couple different things. We're going to start out with talking about tires. So the first topic we're going to get into is tires, and basically the moral story is, should you invest in expensive tires? Is it worth your time? Or will your Temu special tires work just as well? After that topic, we'll talk about our freedom topic of the day, and that is going to be, should you be able to modify your car regardless of what the EPA says? And then we're going to have a good discussion, a good debate on which is the best Ford Halo car, the GT40 from the 60s, the Le Mans winning car, the mid-2000s Ford GT revival, and then the 2019 Ford GT. Then we'll come back, we'll do our Jordan Steele's Deals and Disasters, and then we'll wrap up with Spencer's 2 cents that you can take it to the bank because it's always true. All right, so
yeah, 2 cents. Their pennies are our shortage right now.
That is true. Hold on to your pennies, people. Maybe we should upgrade it to Spencer's 5 cents so that you can throw a nickel at him.
That's it. That's all it's worth, is a damn nickel. Shit.
Well, so let's get into the first
tax. That's about a dime.
Oh yeah. Take 40% off. The but let's talk about our first topic of the day. Tires. Seems like a boring topic, but I love talking about tires. And so is it worth it for people to invest in tires and good tires, or does it not really matter? Are you getting marginal performance? And will your Temu special Walmart brand tires, will those get you through just fine? So I'll open it up. Anyone's got any initial thoughts on this topic?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm a big believer of decent tires, but they're expensive. And with like a few weeks ago being at SEMA, I didn't realize how many tire manufacturers there are in this world. It is mind blowing. There's just so many options that you've never even heard of, and you got to find a different source to get them here. But I'm sure some of them work pretty well. I think it's an issue of kind of insurance on your own end. If you have a non-DOT spec tire that you import from overseas and slap on your car, and you're at fault or you part of an accident or something like that, I feel like they could consider you at fault for not having DOT tires.
Do insurance companies check for that when check your tires? I mean,
I
I
don't know.
agree. You
I
probably are
think
open yourself up to that liability, but
I think there's extreme circumstances where they would find any reason to not cover you. But
yeah, that I agree with.
Yeah, they're very good at their jobs of making sure to find whoever is not them at fault.
right, whoever
However
has to
they
pay
can,
this except for them.
who's trying to find the I can't remember the word, who's responsible and who's accountable.
Yeah.
No, I in my area we see a lot of folks that use a lot of the cheaper brand tires, or they'll we're to a point now. We actually have a storefront. I mean, not now. It's been around for a long time. It's a used tire store. We actually if they find good used tires, they'll actually end up selling them out of their establishment. However, I am a terrible example. Okay, so do as I say, not as I do. Um, I I never have any time to work on my own shit. So instead of fixing the cars and vehicles that I do have, I just go out and buy another one, another cheap one. Okay, and it's usually when it comes to tires, I do the same. It's been really I can in the past 10 years, I probably bought maybe 2 or 3 sets of new tires. And I have this curse, okay? I go and buy brand new tires and I put them on a truck. And if say it's a really nice truck that I don't want to have, I don't want to put in the salt in the winter, I'll put the truck away for the winter and that truck will not start the next spring, all because just because I put new tires. It's just it's a happenstance, but I've always where I go and put new tires on a truck, it won't start the next. But if I put used tires on that damn thing, we're good to go. Um,
You got the
the
Michelin man. You got the Michelin man with just like making a voodoo curse over your over, over your shop. Just new tires.
yeah,
Michelin man. He's not up for it.
says
He's
he's
not
going up
up for
son
it.
bitch. You gotta buy new. No, we I now I have a lot of customers that go and then purchase kind of the lower scale, lower value tires just because one, it's hard to justify paying almost 60% over that tire's cost um to do the same job. A lot of our cars that are out here, we don't know if it's going to be rolling for another 2 3 years. So I go and put expensive tires on 'em. And with that, I will say that we have experienced a lot of defects. I believe with a newer tire, a newer tire with that's a quality brand, and a little more value. You have less defects. Not saying that you don't have any defects at all, because trust me, we've seen that before too. But we see more happenstances with a cheaper tire, whether it be a broken belt, uh, bead defects, just a lot of that is where we see where you end up cheaping out, and the issues that you see with it.
Yeah, I
Right.
think we're kind of in the same boat. The more not necessarily the more expensive the tire, but the more reputable the brand, it seems the easier to balance. They don't have road force issues down the road and stuff like that. Um, it takes usually take a little less weight to balance. Seems like they've got a better quality control going out the door. Um, but that's not always the case. Uh, we'll still see some new name brand tires that will be really bad right out of the right off the sticker.
And a lot of times those newer brands and everything have a pretty decent warranty on them.
Mm-hmm.
So they usually stand behind them. So with the extra money you're spending is usually that extra coverage on that warranty. The usually the linglongs that come in don't last long, and you you have a busted sidewall, you have a busted belt, and it's on the it's a lot of times a lot of those are on the retailers, um, as far as honoring any kind of warranty on them, which a lot I've seen that don't have too much of a warranty on those. It's like, hey, got the taillight warranty, man. You see the taillights warranty's gone, son. So
Yeah, a lot of it is based on the retailer. So depending on where we get the tire from is how easy it is to warranty that. So we try to stick with just a few distributors for tires because if we're going straight from an overseas manufacturer or something like that, we're paying more in shipping to warranty that tire than it would cost to just put a new tire on it.
yeah, and the tire market is just so stupid. It's insane how well tire manufacturers and tire businesses have marketed themselves, that we see when I don't have a tire machine anymore in my shop, only because I couldn't afford to keep the machine, to keep that space in my shop, because it wasn't making me any money to justify to keep it. A lot of times what I saw, and what eventually put the last nail in the coffin for me was, you have a lot of customers that go online to Tire Rack or wherever, discounttire.com, all that stuff, and they go and they buy a tire online. They say, well, I'm getting it shipped home. Can you just mount them for me? And a lot of that is like, well, you want me to mount your tires, but yet it's my problem when you have an issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, my tiger paws, hey, they're all messed up. What's the problem? I don't know. Why don't you call the website that you got them from? Well, I don't want to deal with all that, and I think it was the way that you mounted it. Nah, you know, it's that was done. We're over it. If you want to buy your own tires, you can mount them too. You know,
Yeah,
so
As
I
a
got to make
former
money on the tires too
as a
if I'm
former
going to be doing that.
tire technician at Discount Tire, I can say there's only really, I mean, you either mount the tire or you don't mount the tire. There's no like, I mount the tire incorrectly and add air to, like, there's just no,
yeah,
you either the tire is on or it's not on the bead. It's, you add air to it and it's either seated the bead or you haven't seated the bead yet. And then that's the case, you need to get more air so that you can seat the bead. If people are coming to you and complaining about their tire paws not being mounted properly, then watch a YouTube video on how tires are mounted, because it's either yay or nay. There's no in between, really. It is not
well,
like, you tightening fittings and putting, putting piping together or wiring electrical, and maybe you didn't ground something the right way, and it's like, okay, well, maybe in that case, there's something I might have done incorrectly. No, in tires, it's pretty simple. It's either it's on or it's not. So,
I'll plug
uh,
Hunter Engineering here real quick, but we have their granddaddy of tire machines at the shop, and so we try to road force balance almost everything. And a lot of that, we can rotate the tire on the bead to eliminate, kind of, it's not necessarily eliminate, but reduce the amount of road force that it puts out. And that's a lot of what people don't understand too. That's not something that just takes 30 seconds to slap the tire on the wheel. You're dismount, you're basically balancing it,
yeah,
finding
you're
the high and low spot.
shifting it.
Our tire machine is pretty cool, and it will rotate. It will grab the tire and rotate it on the bead for you.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's pretty sweet. But again, that's an expensive piece of machinery, and if we're not making a little bit off the tire itself and selling our labor appropriately for that, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
So I'm
'Cause I
curious,
was
are there brands that you guys see that balance better than others? And I know that that's not necessarily just the tire. I know that there's the wheel has a play in that too, right? So, but I
I will say,
remember,
as long as it's on an OEM wheel, it seems to be okay. It's when you start getting into the aftermarket wheels that they just bought the cheapest aluminum 20-inch wheel they could find on a website.
on Temu.
And yeah, and they expect it to actually be true.
I remember Toyota wheels back when I was doing tires. Toyota wheels, for some reason, we had a hard time getting Toyota wheels to balance properly. I don't know why. And I hated doing lug nuts on this is now I'm gonna go off on a tangent real quick, but I hated doing lug nuts on Dodges. They just they are just garbage lug nuts. And then um it was always really cool when a Land Rover would come in because their lug nuts are like 3 times bigger than they need to be. And are they still doing that? I haven't touched a Land Rover wheel in God knows 10 years or more than 10 years, more than a decade. But are they still doing lug nuts that are the size of God's balls? Like what?
I don't know. I haven't touched a recent one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, be
we
curious.
don't
I'd be
really have
curious
an
to
issue
know.
with the Dodge lug nuts. What we see, obviously, more people would probably agree with is Ford's chrome coated lug nuts that
Yeah.
always get corroded underneath and swell, or you have somebody that takes a wrong size socket with an impact and just goes to town on it. And it's a 15, 20-year-old lug nut that uh that's seen, that many years of road salt, and next thing you know, you're basically cussing and tossing your socket across the room because it's fucking stuck in it. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Fords are really bad at that.
Yeah,
interesting.
um I still there's no scientific evidence behind this. This is a pure opinion. I think it's the like tire chain stores and like dealer lube rack places that are using torque sticks on the chrome capped lug nuts because they're just wailing on it for 30 seconds because the torque stick is going to get it right where it needs to be, but they keep wailing on it, and that just beats the hell out of those chrome caps, at
Dooga
least around
dooga.
here.
Dooga
And
dooga dooga.
the corrosion aspect, as soon as it gets loose, you're just opening the door for water and road salt and grime to get in there, and that makes it
And
10
it's
times
two
worse.
dissimilar metals. You got electrolysis and you got all this other crap going on. It's just an old, poor design lug nut.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna get us off the tangent of lug nuts and get us back on the tires. But
Back on tires.
back on the tires. I personally think that if you want to significantly improve the performance of your vehicle in whatever way that you want to, and that means if you're racing the car, If you are in a winter condition, you want winter performance. If you want, if you're doing rock crawling and you want better performance on rock crawling, if you're going to be doing mud bogging and you want mud performance, if you want sand, you name it. I think if you are someone that is looking to improve the performance of your vehicle, I think the easiest way to do that is to improve the tires on your vehicle. Hands down. I really truly believe that. There is something to be said about, you know, having the right tires for whatever you're needing to do, and then on top of that, uh quality tires. I think, yeah, you can buy the cheapest tires out there. You can buy your tire paws. Or maybe they look cool and they look the part. They got, whatever look that you're going for. But in terms of performance, stopping, starting, weather conditions, uh, you know, off pavement kind of conditions, racing, whatever, they're not going to perform as well. Will they go around on the road? They do circles just like every other tire, but the the performance of higher quality tires, I think it can't be matched. What I do think is debatable is if that performance is worth the extra cost. Uh, that's where I think it kind of gets debatable. And do you need the absolute, do you need the top Michelin, $280 a tire, um, car tire to get what you need? Or can a Continental $220 tire do almost as good and save you a little bit of cash? That's where I think there's some room for debate. But when it comes to, like, I'm buying a $150 tire that has some name brand I've never even heard of before, I think that you're going to regret that decision in the long run. And I think if you actually care about the performance of your vehicle, it is worth spending some money for good tires.
Yeah, and I think kind of like we've said before, we're not the normal tire buyers. We're I don't have a single tire size that's a common tire size anymore. So I'm shopping based on tire size and what's even available in that tire size.
But even when you are looking at what's available in a tire size, I know you look for, you and I have had many discussions about what tires,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that you care about the performance of the tires that you get. And so,
Yeah, and then mine came down to three choices between the BFG KO3s, the Falcon AT4s, and Duratrax. It's kind of a
those are all
potential
pretty
off-road.
good. Those are all pretty good tires, though.
Yeah.
When it comes to performance, yes, I agree with you. When it comes to challenging terrain or snow or mud, yes, there are better tires. And that really depends as far as the value of a good tire. I believe depends on the buyer and how much they actually do see of those more radical road conditions. Um, yes, I will. I will say that a more expensive tire, with some research will do uh, better for you in the long run. Um, However, when it comes to tires myself, if it was the fiance's car, I'd be more concerned as far as something more safe for her, and take care of her in the the long haul. But when it comes to stuff like for my own personal vehicles, well, we're running frog hides, salami skin ATs, the steel band, all terrains and all those good stuff. The more rust you got, the better
I'm not surprised.
traction.
I'm surprised you're not running bias plies.
Well, all mine around here are gone, dry rotted, dead. So all of them are
Yeah.
from the '70s. They're not round anymore. They're egg shaped. No, I don't go that radical as far as bad wear goes in driving on the road, but I I would say that if for those who are listening that are concerned about their safety, their loved one's safety, and stuff like that, a more expensive tire is going to help you out in the long run than going for a cheaper tire.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to just say more expensive is better. Uh, I kind of want to focus on quality because some tires are really good, and yet they're not necessarily as expensive. But I definitely say do your research and look at tire reviews and I would say definitely look at I you go on a tire website like Tire Rack or Discount or any of the others, and they usually have you put in whatever car you have or whatever size you have, and they have good, better, best is kind of a rating. I would say uh shop in the better to best range of tires. I think if you are shopping in the better to best range of tires, uh I think you're setting yourself up well. And I truly believe that, for whatever reason, performance wise, um there's the easiest way. I truly mean the easiest way to improve the performance of your vehicle is to uh Im- improve or put good tires on there for the situation that you're into. If you are uh for example, I remember very distinctly watching this video. This guy, he had a brand new diesel truck, and I can't remember the brand. Maybe it was uh I can't remember, it was a Ford, Chevy, or Ram. I can't remember, but it was a newer truck. And so he is trying to get up his 2% grade driveway, and it's got a little bit of ice on it. And he's got the Nitto Ridge Grapplers, which are a cool looking tire. They are a pretty cool looking tire. But it turns out that they are absolute garbage in the snow and the cold winter weather conditions. So this is an example of this story I'm telling you. He couldn't get up his 2% grade driveway in his newish, and he had new tires, new Nitto Ridge Grapplers, and he had that truck in 4-wheel drive, and he still couldn't get up his 2% grade. I I see that is purely on the tires. That truck should be able to can get up that grade. If even if it's a sheer sheet of ice, if you put the right tires on that truck, it'll climb up that driveway, no problem. In 2-wheel drive, even it probably doesn't even need 4-wheel drive. But the Ridge Grapplers, bad in the snow. Great if you're in Florida. Absolutely fantastic if you're in Florida or you're in the South or Texas or something like that. But if you're dealing with cold weather, that hard rubber compound is just not good. And so, even though I would say that generally that's a good tire, it is the wrong application of that tire. And so, knowing what you're gonna be driving in, what your conditions are, what you need out of your tires should really be the driving factor. But don't buy Temu specials. They're going to be even worse than the Ridge Grapplers.
They might look the same though.
They will look real close,
Real
real
similar.
similar. Yeah. Some might say it's copyright.
No, I'm surprised that Nito didn't perform very well. Usually Nito tires are pretty good. I can't never forget the time where we were working in Commerce City, and our used car tech had a used Chevy pickup in. They had Michelin's on it, and he called us over to check this out. And we're going, what's so funny, Bill? And he says, look at these tires. And the sidewall was absolutely destroyed with dry rot. And it was so terrible. Like cracking was so bad. I mean, it looked like this tire was from the 50s, but I can't remember how old it was, maybe 8 years old. And he goes, watch this. He reaches in his pocket and for his pocket screwdriver and stabs it in the side of that thing on your ear. And he sprays some soap around it. Wasn't leaking. Pulls it back out. Sprays some water around it. Wasn't leaking. I'm going, what the heck? It's self-healing. And this truck came in with these tires were still full of air. And it was, I remember it being a Michelin. And I'm going, that's insane. And I thought from then on, Michelins are so expensive because they're so good that they got this going for them, and they're a harder tire, so they last longer. But really, the each brand um, has their pitfalls, and they have their good tires. So like you said, you really want to do your research on some real time consumer um, reviews and stuff like that. I know people that absolutely hate Michelins and will not put a Michelin on their truck, and I know people that absolutely hate Goodyears, and other people praise them. Um, so even the big name brands have their faults, but it's again, just do your research. There's Walmart only tires that Goodyear sells, which is a cheaper Goodyear, which again, that's almost on the cusp of we're cheaping out quality for a cheaper tire, but it still has their name on it, you know.
Well, this goes into that's an interesting point, and that reminds me of a conversation that we've had before, and that is uh the tires that come on your car when you buy it brand new from the factory. They may say that they are like a Goodyear or a Michelin or a BFG, but they're not the same as if you were to go to an aftermarket, buy that exact same tire. I know
Yeah.
we've had a couple of discussions about that. I know Jordan, you and I especially, with you may buy a car from the factory, but because these car companies are putting in such massive orders with these tire companies to get these tires made, um, the quality of these tires are lower than if you were to go to Discount or Tire Rack or wherever and buy those tires separately.
Yeah. And we'll see that where you can buy the OE spec tire, and it's usually cheaper than the actual tire itself. It'll have a different part number, sometimes less tread depth, different compound, but it looks identical. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Yeah, and I will say that you're talking about the good, better, best. The cars, the your brand new car that comes with a Michelin or a Goodyear, I would say that's probably you're on the line of between good and better. The your factory tire is definitely one that's a little bit on the cheaper side, because obviously when you buy it bulk, you get a you get a deal on bulk, but at the same time, they're not gonna go and pull no stuff, no pull no extra stuff for you either. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then if you buy that same tire later on, like at from Tire Rack, it's gonna be like a better to best, you know.
the one tire that I saw the other day, and I remember going through high school thinking, if I go and buy new tires, I want this tire so bad. And if you guys remember the General red letters,
General
General
Grappler.
Grabber, yeah, the red letters. And there's a truck that came in with probably one from our vintage of high school. And I'm going, oh man, I can't believe it. This is one I wanted forever. And I just don't know why I wanted them so bad, but their marketing was so good. and you never saw a red letter tire. Like, I want that so bad. Yeah. But
That's
that was one
funny.
of my favorites.
I also wanted those tires. Like I thought those tires were so cool. But their performance is okay, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind
It's
of
a very
okay.
specific performance
It is,
category,
yeah.
Yes.
and it's not for the average
It's not for the highway.
ice cruiser. No.
That's a sand tire, and I
Yeah,
wanted it to go on the highway.
it's a Baja. It's a Baja. I mean, they do great in the Baja, right? But for where the three of us live, which is Idaho, Colorado, and Illinois, it's not a tire that we should be
No.
buying.
No. So,
But if you're down in South California or Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, like that's probably a killer tire for you.
absolutely.
The tire, my like dream tire for the longest time was always the Pitbull Rockers.
Oh,
Just
God.
because they looked cool.
That's
Yeah.
what, that's
It
what they sound
sounds like
like
a
going
pit
down the
bull.
road.
Yeah.
I remember you had those Pro Comp. Oh
Oh,
gosh,
just the Pro Comp mutters.
the Pro Comp mutters on your Forerunner, and I remember us driving from Fort Collins back to Denver, and oh my gosh, we had the windows down because it was summer, and it's just from the tire.
Yep.
Those things were screaming.
Or the Michelin XMLs on the 6-liter when it was lifted. Sounded like the plane was taking off the entire time. You couldn't talk to
Those
nobody. But
military
that's an
tires.
ex-military tire. So
Yeah.
it wasn't built for comfort. It was built for
Yeah.
for handling bombs and running without any tire pressure in it. So
Do you remember when we put those in the back of my Ranger and they barely fit in the back of the Ranger because
I think I
those
still have
tires were
that
so
picture
big.
somewhere. Yeah, that was a good time. I have a guy that came in, so we're hot and heavy in the snow season here, and we're having an abnormal amount of snow. So of course we have an abnormal amount of plow truck traffic into the shop lately, and uh, guy he's got a '97 F350 with the service body on it, and he says, I'm trying to look for tires, but the problem is I can't find any tires in this size. And I look at them. I didn't even look at the truck. I go, 16.5s? Yeah. How'd you know? I just haven't had an idea. The 16.5s are so hard to find, but they're, the one fun spot to find them is the military market, the military surplus. Of course, you have the like Humvee tires, the smaller M wraps and stuff like that they're getting rid of. But there again, they are cheap, but you're buying very military tire specific tires that they aren't built for comfort. They're
Or
built
speed.
for war. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And they're usually pretty old by the time
Yeah,
they
they
reach
are
our
old.
market.
yeah. And there again, you start getting into the vintage market. Well, I got a Corvette and I want to keep it original. So I want some old poly glasses. Well, they still make them, but they're expensive through Coker and all that stuff. But then you go and you get in it after it's sat all winter, and you go and drive, and all of a sudden you're going, "Wow, this thing's out around for some reason." Yeah, it's a bias play. So that's of course whoever's buying it probably understands that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the the tire market is so diverse. There is so many different options out there for you. It's definitely and for how well marketed they are, it is pretty crucial for you to do a little bit of research. It doesn't have to be a month ordeal to try and figure out do I go with the Hancooks or do I want my Pirellis? It doesn't take much to there's very nice easy systems that break it down by tire noise and handling and all that stuff. A couple minutes of research will save you quite a bit of headaches in the long run.
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer that you walk into a tire shop, and you're like, I want this tire, I want it Like, I want this specific tire. Don't let those tire guys sell you into something else. Like, you walk in and you're like, this is what I want.
But we got a
Um,
special going on right now for
I
Tiger
don't
Paws.
care. I want this tire. This
Are
is
you
the
sure?
one.
But with our Super Duty special, we can get we'll put tire shine on them for you.
Lifetime tire shine.
I'll
Tire
tell you
shine
what
and
I used to do.
rotations for 3 months.
No,
Yep.
what I used to do in Europe, you know,
They're rotating all the time.
you
Why
just
do I need a
when
tire rotation?
they all come up to you, you just no. This tire, this one, this is the one. No. Oh man, if you ever you end up in the Middle East, like I was walking through a Bahrain market, and turns out I stick out. I don't look like I belong in Bahrain.
Oh, no kidding.
Weird.
That's just the nature of how it is.
I would have never figured.
Yeah,
That's
who would have
racist.
thunk? But you know, I'm walking through Bahrain, and you walk through these markets, and it's a cool experience. And I don't want to downplay this and be all negative. It's a cool experience. A great place to get gold, and a great place to get custom suits made for you. But I'm walking through this market, and man, they would come up to you and they're like, my friend, we special deal just for you. I have just for you, this special deal. And they just, no. I don't, not for me. You have to find a way they're good. They are good. They got me to buy these stupid sunglasses that I did not, I pretty much put them straight in the trash can. It's just a waste of money.
Yeah.
But it's a good place to buy gold. Yeah. Do your research, Don.
Do your research on your Bahrain sunglasses.
Bahrain sunglasses.
Maybe that just applies to buying anything.
You know, it's good. Maybe, did we already get to Spencer's 2 cents? Is that what's going on? Spencer's nickel?
Boy, this got real quick, done real fast. No.
All right, well, I think we've just about killed the tire topic. Moral of the story is, you know, tires are not created equally. If you're buying a brand tire you've never even heard of, you're probably going to get lower performance out of it. Shop for higher quality tires and do a little bit of research, and you'll do pretty good. You'll appreciate the benefits of that. Moving on to the freedom topic. Should you be able to modify your car regardless of what the EPA says?
Yes.
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 Is my
End
yes
of
is my
story.
only answer.
Next topic. Yeah.
Yes. Does
This
the EPA
is,
make laws, or do they just make rules?
Right.
That's my stance on it.
They don't make laws, but for a while, Congress decided that they didn't want to do their job. And so Congress said that all these regulatory bodies, all these 3-letter agencies, whether that be the EPA, the FDA, CDC, FBI, whatever, you name it,
TMAs.
that they should know better than us because, heck, we're just lawyers. And that they should be able to make the rules, and people should have to abide by them. That got recently overturned by the Supreme Court in the Chevron deference case. And so the power that these 3-letter agencies have has been I'd say checked. The government checks and balances actually came through and did what it was supposed to do and said the executive branch, which all these 3-letter agencies fall under, that the judicial system came in and said you're outside of your bounds, you're grabbing for too much power. It is the legislative branch, i.e. Congress, that should be making the actual laws and the rules that people abide by, and not just what you think is best. That being said, when they made the ruling on Chevron deference, they basically made it from this point forward, and not necessarily for the last 40 to 50 years that the EPA and all these other agencies have been making rules. And that we as citizens of the United States are supposed to abide by. The big one is the Clean Air Act. That is the big one that the EPA gives power over emission systems. And in the last 5 years or so, we've seen a lot of small business owners and shops that have been dealing with heavy lawsuits, heavy fines, and even going to prison in some cases because they've been modifying the emission systems on vehicles. And where I'd say in a perfect world for the EPA, not for us, different perfect world, right? But in a perfect world for the EPA, they want you to buy a car and not modify a single thing. They don't want you to change a single thing on that car. And they would want you that to be illegal for you to do so. Is my impression of what the EPA wants. I think that goes very strongly against the American way of doing things, the American culture. We have been, from the very first car that was made, people have been modifying their vehicles, and people should continue to have the ability to modify vehicles.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say what modifications are. Like something as simple as like a level kit and larger tires is something that they don't necessarily want us to have. But there's a
But
whole
that
world of
hurts the
aftermarket
emissions, though,
shit.
because that makes more emissions. That's more effort
Yeah,
to push
drops
those
your
tires.
fuel mileage by 1/10.
Yeah, if we
Although I will say,
if
as
everyone,
me
if we didn't
working
lift
on
trucks,
vehicles,
and if we didn't put bigger tires on trucks, then all the flooding that's going on in Washington State right now, that wouldn't happen because climate wouldn't be changing. So
yeah, these big tires are what affects that for sure.
all those
From the
people.
service standpoint, though, working on vehicles, I'd much rather work on a fully factory vehicle than a modified one.
Modifications, the amount of modifications that are out there right now it is a challenge to try and keep up with them all, and sometimes it's part of the job to try and figure out just what is modified and how it is modified.
Yeah,
And what a lot of people that don't understand is it it is that case, from a technician standpoint, our biggest downfall for us is obviously that we have a book that says this job can take this many hours and you need to do it in this amount of time. When we end up getting something that is modified and we have to therefore fix this issue, and all of a sudden the bill comes out different. Well, now we're crooks. Now we're thieves. Now you don't know what you're doing. Now, why the hell did you charge me this much when the YouTube said it should only take this long? Well, you didn't tell me about the fucking 5 million Scotch locks in your fucking harness. You didn't tell me about your goddamn, you didn't tell me about your cold air intake that all of a sudden dusted your engine because here's your Timu Special Spectre, and, there, um, yes, I believe it is our God-given right that if we are given something, we are allowed to play with it. Just like your wiener, I want to do it with the fucking truck, okay? So what? I, but ever since this whole government, it is government overreach, all right? That back in when the internal combustion engine was just coming to light, um, the original diesel motor, Rudolph Diesel, made an engine that ran off of peanut oil.
Yep.
Okay. Henry Ford had engines that ran off of ethanol. But guess what ethanol is, folks? It's fucking corn mash. That's also in your whiskey glass. Prohibition. Boom. Standard Oil. Let me get my tinfoil hat here. Standard Oil comes around here and says, we need to sell oil, not whiskey. Ban it all. So here comes prohibition. No more whiskey, oil, boop, done. That set the precedence for the automotive market for the next 100 years. We're gonna be dependent on oil. We're gonna make sure that we stick to oil. If it was the case was different back in the early 1900s, we might have some super ethanol runners. We might be totally dependent on peanut farmers for as all we know. But then we get into the 80s where the world's choking on all this exhaust fumes and
I was
Japan
wondering
comes
how we
out
were
with
gonna
these
get
little
back
rice.
to emissions.
Yeah, and then Japan's coming over with their little rice burners that are getting 20, 30 miles a gallon and little four cylinders but we had. I want to be just like I want to be like the guys in the 50s that are modifying cars to be faster and cooler looking and doing all this cool stuff. But then you come back at me with the Clean Air Act and say, well, your hobby is now illegal. You can't go and take the muffler off the car because you're choking off the sea turtles and stuff like that. It's just it's very frustrating. Um, it am I saying that that we as a community, the car community is contributing to any accelerant of environmental damage? I I imagine so, but so are my farts. Okay, Karen, come and suck on this methane and tell me that fucking you can breathe better on that. But anything that we do to this world is not this what was done back in the '60s. Wasn't done back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Okay, we're changing with the world. The world's changing with us. That I don't think that our main focus should be our hobby. Um, however the my here, let me take the tinfoil back off there. Yeah, the government has a lot at their hands in a lot of things. It's a big money grab, and unfortunately, it just frustrates us little folks that just want to hot rod pickup trucks and have fun with our toys.
That's
Right.
gonna go down as one of the best rants I think I've ever heard you say. That was
We'll clip that one for
Put that
later.
one on
yeah, that
YouTube
was
and suck it.
Yeah.
that was that was pretty good. I was sitting there going, all right, we're getting into Rudolph Diesel and where are we going with this? This is the conspiracy of Rudolph Diesel's death, and I that could probably be a topic on its own. And how are we going to get back to the EPA and modifying cars? You brought it back. You brought it
Here,
back.
we got full circle.
We came full circle.
The
Speaking of full circle, the entire government is overreach.
Yes.
yeah, we're not here to debate that though.
How many
Squirrel.
rabbit holes do we want? Yeah. I'll put my tinfoil hat on, but it's more like a tinfoil suit.
Yeah.
They're gonna get to my vitals. Damn it.
This is our third
Yeah.
episode. People don't need to know
Tinfoil
that we're.
suit with
People
a
don't need to
plate
know that
carrier.
we go to sleep in a tinfoil pajamas with our tinfoil blanket. They don't need to know that yet. We'll let them know that on episode 50.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so episode 50, I will be wearing
Episode 50,
tinfoil.
you can finally talk about how much tinfoil you have.
Not enough.
By Stock Reynolds.
But I didn't even where do I even go with this?
My biggest thing is like the modification side of stuff. I think we should be allowed to do a lot more than we are. But don't expect a fucking warranty on your shit if you are the guy who's gonna do your own work and expect somebody else to pay for the parts when you screw something up. That's my biggest
that
gripe
is a good
with
point. That's a
and
good
it's
point.
the world we live in. It has nothing to do with modifications and whatnot, but it's the world we live in that everybody expects something for free.
A lot of our expectations are skewed, and our hobby and our market is largely skewed by I don't want to say media, however, a lot of television, a lot of social media, a lot of things that are heavily edited. I will say. Um, you, we talk about now. This is a little askew. The Barrett Jackson and Meekum just absolutely wrecked the classic car market and their values and everything because you got someone coming up saying that their 76 Camaro that's in the backyard is worth 100 grand because he saw one go on Barrett Jackson for 120. A lot of I was part of the overhauling generation where you watched Chip Foose and all these guys come in and completely restore a car in a week. Um, that and now we have YouTube where a lot of guys say, "Well, I'm gonna put what's the air modification on the 6 liters? The Zoodad mod where they put a hole in the freaking core support
Yeah,
so it goes straight into the air filter. The Zoodad mod can
including
be
the water.
done. The Zoodad mod can be done in 5 minutes because I watched it do it done on YouTube. Well, a guy spent 2 hours because he lost a wrench over one place, but he edited it down into 5 minutes.
Hmm.
But um, so a lot of that. We're off topic again. Where did we go, Squirrel?
Yeah, so that's a good point. I'm gonna add on to your little point there. Just the other day, actually yesterday, I installed that fast system on my Dodge Cummins,
You
and
didn't use
uh,
Scotch locks, did you? I'll come over and kick your ass.
no, I didn't use
I'll
Scotch
come
locks.
rip them out.
I I didn't use Scotch locks. I would have appreciated you coming out here to help me with it, but no. I called around to a shop to see a local dealer to see how much they charge for an install on one of these, and they were going about 4 hours is what their install was, and this is the titanium series fast. It's not the sump where you drill a hole in the bottom of the tank. This is where you pull the sending unit out and you modify the sending unit, put it back in, mount the new unit, run the hoses, run the wiring, and all that. So they were gonna charge about 4 hours of labor, which is, you know, it took me about double that time. Like I'll just be honest. Uh, you know, I'm I'm here to represent the average weekend renter, the guy that doesn't do this for a living but wants to occasionally wants to do things on his own and is capable of doing things. It took me about double the amount of time that probably it would have taken you guys to do, just because you guys do it for a living. But the anyways, I'll go back. Now I'm gonna bring it back to the EPA. All right. Um, now that you know how dysfunctional I am at installing fast systems, I'll bring it back to the EPA. Here's an example that I think is absolutely stupid for how things are. On this Land Cruiser behind me, it's got the catalytic converters on it. I haven't messed with the catalytic converters on it. Those are required to be there by law. The catalytic converters often have a heat shield on them, and the heat shield on one of my catalytic converters, the one of the tabs that holds it on, it broke because of mileage and age and corrosion and whatnot. So it broke. It would rattle at a certain RPM, and then it drove me crazy. I hated it. I get this little rattle. I took it to a muffler shop, and I said, I had this rattle on this catalytic converter. Can you fix it for me? They could not. They refused to touch this catalytic converter. They would not even weld it, even though they're simply trying to fix the catalytic converter. I'm not removing it. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just taking the heat shield and putting it back to where it's supposed to be. They would not touch it. It was legally, they were like, we are legally not allowed to touch this thing. Like the only thing we could do is, oh yeah, we'll sell you a new one. We'll take that catalytic converter you have. We'll take it out. We'll sell you a new one. And you can put it back in. No, it's just ridiculous. Like I'm not modifying the catalytic converter whatsoever. I'm simply trying to get rid of a rattle, and I can't because it's illegal, and that's stupid. I got nothing. I want to say a lot
Yeah,
more. I want to say a lot
I,
more worse things, that want to come out of my mouth, but I'm letting the vulgarity come out of Spencer today. Um,
Well, that case is a little radical, as far as the shop, um, from the shop standpoint. That so the yes, it's considered modifying it, but if so, let's go for the cheap fix on this. Okay, you want to fix that rattle. Well, if you if you want to pay next to nothing, and get it taken care of, the easy way to go about it is take a big old hose clamp and throw it around that thing and tighten her up. Boom, it's gone. Um, but as a shop, I need to cover my time. I go to work just like everybody else. I want to get paid to go to work. Okay. Um, if yes, I just simply put a hose clamp on it, but as a standard, the shop, in any kind of shop is typically you see an hour minimum. And of course it doesn't have to be the standard labor rate. It could be a modified labor rate. It could be to make it a little bit cheaper, but you as a consumer gets back under your car and you see, well, that motherfucker just charged me to put a goddamn hose clamp on. I could have done that. Why didn't I think of that? Next thing you know, you have um, a customer that's not happy with the repair and the way that you conducted the repair. Now, of course, if let's go to their standpoint, where if you want it fixed, the right way to do it is replacement. Well, now you just spent say $1,600-$1,700 on putting new cats in it, because I imagine on that one it's probably got two cats and a Y pipe. Um, so now you pay something like $1,600-$1,700 to repair what is rattle and yeah there at least it was a quality repair that was done, but it still leaves a bad taste in your mouth and a little bit shallower wallet. Uh, and Really, that's kind of just a lose-lose situation. However, the better outcome, I believe, would be probably the way that they handled it with trying to sell you a new cat.
Yeah.
If you came into my shop, I'd probably tell you, look, I'm gonna put a fucking hose clamp on. You're gonna pay me $60, and we're just gonna call it good. And you probably left the shop going, "Fuck, why didn't I think of that?" And I just lost out on a sale. Okay, so it's really you really got to take care of it's a situation that needs to be handled graciously.
It's such a gray area too. So here, we've adopted the California rules of no aftermarket cats, nothing. It has to be OEM only for replacement and stuff like that. So yeah, that repair would be probably 2,500, 3 grand
yeah,
here
ridiculous.
just to replace that. Um, but I mean, that's parts price is a lot of that. Um, it's a gray area, especially on like the 6.7s. You get a broken EGT sensor, breaks off in the bung on those. Are we allowed to cut the bung off and re-weld a bung and save the customer from buying a $6,000-$7,000 DPF just to charge them a few hours to weld a little piece of metal on there? That has no effect on tampering. All we're doing is effectively saving the part that's already in there from
Yeah.
going to the scrapper.
Which I would argue is better for the environment than creating more excess shit.
There again, we start getting into modifying things, and we just actually saw where Trump pardoned the I can't remember what his name is. He has a diesel shop in Wyoming where the EPA imprisoned him because he stood his ground and all the guy was trying to do it. Yeah, he let's back up here. The guy went to prison because he was deleting vehicles, right? He was taking emissions off and eventually, essentially um, fixing the issue with the truck to make it mobile and do its job, right? and the EPA decided that was not okay. Was we need to make an example of this gentleman, and we're going to send him to prison because he's doing something that we do not approve of. That, in my point of view, in my unprofessional opinion, is bullshit. Because we, as technicians, mechanics, um, ranchers, drivers, anybody that has been around a diesel engine for more than a day, you want your truck, your equipment to make you money, to get you somewhere. And if it's going to be restricted upon, say that we have a DPF or an emission part that is on back order, or they no longer make anymore, which is what I'm starting to see right now. Um, the quickest, most efficient option is to remove the emission system to keep on making us move and getting our jobs done and everything. I'm to for the government to come and say you're at fault for trying to help the motherfuckers out, and you're killing the dinosaurs, and we're coming after you. We're going to put you in prison because you fixed a truck. Now, what that that becomes absolutely ridiculous. Why am I in the same place that a guy killed another guy? All I did was try to do my job and fix a truck and try and get somebody going. It's absolutely insane to me, um, as a fucking red-blooded American.
I don't think anything else needs to be said. Spencer, I think you summed it up pretty good there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Let me fix my damn truck, damn it. I just want to go. I don't want to
Keep
be
on
stranded on
trucking.
the side of the road because it's -10 and my DPF doesn't want to fucking cook, okay? Let me go home.
I'm stuck to 5 miles an hour because my DPF
All
won't
right.
light off.
All right. So with that, we're gonna move on to what we think is best, and that is the Ford GT Halo cars. We have the 60s Le Mans winning Ford GT40, the mid 2000s 5.4 liter supercharged, beautiful car, Ford GT,
I can tell your pick.
and the 2019 Ford GT space car, incredible technology, active aero, just incredible speed. Hands down the fastest of the three. Um, so each of these cars is very unique. Obviously the original GT40, there's the whole Ford versus Ferrari storyline behind that. There's the winning Le Mans back to back to back, absolutely spanking everyone else, and then Ford being like, "Yeah, look what we can do." Arguably questionable on if it's even really a Ford, but it's still a Ford GT40, but it was built all over the place by specialists. The mid 2000s Ford GT, they were trying to create a homologen car, a halo car, and they said, why screw up what's already perfect, which is the old styling from the 60s, and so they kind of released a modern edition of that. And then the 2019 car, you get Ford getting into carbon fiber, incredible carbon fiber work, reducing the weight. You get away from a V8. I'm pretty sure it's a modified EcoBoost V6. And
Yep, it's a 3.5.
yeah, and but that's an incredible car too, and I believe it won at Le Mans too. I need to check that up. We need to fact check that before I say that it won at Le Mans.
I think you're right in its class, but I don't know. I don't know how competitive that class
It's
was.
Yeah, it's not the same as like winning Le Mans in the 60s because now Le Mans has got so many different classes in it. So it I think it won in its class, but it was not, the overall total winner of Le Mans. But all right, Spencer, what which of these three incredible cars do you think is the best?
Well, if I had to take my pick of the three, um, I can't drive any of them. So, I would honestly take the original. Without the original, you wouldn't have the other two. Um, I, I think both of them have their own respect to the original. However, we had, like you said, with the second generation where they still kept with the same styling but just modernized it, in their respect to the original. The uh, the 2019 or the third generation is, you can almost argue the same case where the GT40 was something that nobody's ever really seen. Everything was experimental. Everything in its case was one off and just built for the intention to go and kick someone else's ass. The 19, here we go again with a lot of modern technology that's also unheard of as far as trying to get performance out of, at that time, a V6 was, uh, you don't see a whole lot in the American market, with a performance V6. Um, so in the respect to that attitude, I would say that they kind of kept it with the 19. However, the styling, of course, is a big miss as far as regards to a GT body, I believe. So it really, I I uh I would almost argue that the original is the car for me.
I don't blame you. Hey,
Yeah.
give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna turn these lights on in my garage because the sun's setting, so I'm losing some light.
Shed some light on the situation, Brandon.
It's just
Wow, is that a Toyota?
Toyota.
Oh, Toyota! Look at that! Oh, it got cow card on it. What are you doing? You hitting cows? You have beef with cow? You go run over.
We're gonna get banned when we release these. We should do like a tinfoil episode, like section of each episode.
I honestly thought about bringing some tinfoil out, just like wrapping it on my head as soon as I go. Here's my tinfoil, mama guys. Let's do that next time.
I was not prepared today.
Me neither. Me neither at all. Because when he was covering up the front end, I thought it was the truck that was behind him. All I saw was gray.
That's Cruiser.
Looks like it's a pretty big garage.
Mm-hmm. And we're back.
that's a little better.
All right. I'm gonna
We're
go with
still
my
here.
pick. I like the original. I like the GT40. I like the heritage and the story behind it. Um, the '06 GT era is the only vehicle of the three that I've driven. Um,
I didn't know you drove one.
it's a fun car. It's always it.
Weren't you the GT tech?
I had my GT cert. Yeah, we weren't a GT dealer, so we didn't get an abundance of them. We had a couple come through over the years, but no, that '06 was pretty fun to drive. it's not built for creature comforts.
No.
Yeah, it's
I
I'd
barely
argue
fit
none of
in it.
them. I'd argue
None
none
of
of
them
them
are,
are.
no. Which that's the purpose of the car. It's not built to be your grocery getter. Um, as far as my favorite, and it's my wallpaper on my computer at all times, is the 19 Ford GT. The 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 amount of work they put into that 3.5 to make 660 horsepower, it's the fastest, it's the most powerful of the three. Um, I I'd love to just drive one. And who knows, maybe me driving all three of them, I could have a better opinion, but I would love to. If
I
I won the
imagine your
lotto, you'd
opinion would stay
know.
the same.
I think so. If I won the lotto, you'd know, because there'd be a
There'd
2019
be a GT in
GT,
the parking lot.
and I'd probably be the first person to hit 150,000 miles in a GT. So that's my stance.
That's a good, yeah. No, that's respectable. I I think that the 2019, it's not my favorite, I'll be honest. It's not my favorite. The styling just isn't there for me. However, um, I think it's going in the right direction for Ford, because Ford was trying to recreate, how do you, the Ford GT is just such a legendary title. How do you how do you beat that? That's what they were facing in the mid 2000s. How do you one up this thing? And they determined at that time they couldn't. They just couldn't. So they and I think they did an incredible job of styling the mid 2000s GT to match the styling of the older car, but bringing in modern technology. And you also remember that that is the era that all the, at least American auto manufacturers, were going in of like the modern retro style. Because if you remember, you have the like Mustang, the 2005 Mustang that brought back kind of the 60s style. And then pretty shortly after that, you have the Dodge brought the Challenger back in '08. And then in 2010, the Camaro came back. So so you got to remember where the styling was at the time, and so Ford with the GT kind of, this modern retro styling was really what was popular, and so it makes sense why that car looks good. However, the next time that they make a GT, if you if they were to style it in the same manner, it just now you just every time is the same, every time is the same. I don't want that for the Ford GT. I want the Ford GT to continue to evolve. And so I think the 2019 is going in the right direction. The styling, it's good. I don't want to say it's a bad looking car. It's a good looking car. It's just not there for me. It just doesn't work it for me. Obviously, Jordan, you love it, and that's great. And it's an incredible car. It's the fastest of the three. It will hands down do, you know, which they're all meant for racing, right? And it'll hands down do that better than the other two. The where I st- where I struggle is, do I think the GT40, the original car, is great, or do I really like the mid 2000s recreation? And I'm kind of torn. I'm really torn between these two cars, and it kind of on. I'd say my dream car is to have a replica GT40 with a Ford 427 uh manual transmission car, carbureted. I wouldn't even want it fuel injected. I think that would be an absolute dream car for me. But uh
see, see Brandon in the middle of an intersection pumping that thing. Come on, you cocksucker, start.
yeah
Is it hydrolock? Just fucking hydrolock.
yeah
God damn it.
hey I
See, if I was to do a kit car or something like that, a replica.
Yeah, so
I would
Superformance,
be I'd be putting
Superformance,
something a little more modern in there.
That'd be a good
eh,
candidate for a coyote
it would be a great coyote
Godzilla.
candidate.
or Godzilla.
And I don't know, maybe you guys could convince me otherwise, but the
I figured you'd
Superformance
put
is
a
a company
5.4 in a replica.
that
I could see you putting a 5.4 in that.
uh I think there's better options.
The only reason
the
I'd want a 5.4 is to put a Kenny Bell on.
yeah,
You know, that'd be the only reason I'd want a 5.4 is because I just want the whine of a supercharger with that exhaust.
I'd put a 5.8 in it. I'd put a
Oh, that'd be a
GT
good idea.
500 5.8 in it for
There you go.
sure.
Which is almost a 5.4.
Pretty much.
It's a modified 5.4, I'd say. But the mid 2000s, they're incredible. I would love one. They're going for almost they're going for anywhere from $200,000 to $400,000 though. So
Yeah.
I just don't see myself ever really getting my hands on one. What I do see myself getting my hands on is and if I continue to, if I succeed in life, that would be a Superformance, GT40 replica car, and I would love it. I would love it so much. I'd put 150,000 miles. No, I'd put 151,000 miles on it.
Just to one up me.
Just the one you, yeah, well, just the one of you.
You sound like a kid trying to get a hamster. I would love it so. I would love you so much if I had a hamster. I would pet it and feed it, and I would love it so much.
I would
But,
wash it, and I would give it the bestest gas, and
I'd
I
give
would
it the
give it
bestest gas.
fuel additive, and I would change it oil every 3,000 miles.
if
I'm pretty sure
that's
my
how
oil
I'd have
change
to get
costs
a
would.
kit car, I would probably do the same.
Yeah.
All right, well, they're great cars. They're incredible, all three of them. I absolutely love them all. And if you can get your hands on any of them, go for it because they are incredible. And I'm looking forward to the next Ford GT. And that's where I think Ford did right with 2019 is it opened the door for the Ford GT to be an ever evolving design and ever evolving concept. And so I think the next one's going to be even more
Yeah.
ludicrous.
Multimatic, the company that builds the Ford GTs, is still making the Mark IV track only car. And I think I want to say it's like a 3.8 or 4 liter, based on the 3.5 EcoBoost now, and they're making like 850 horsepower in a full carbon track body car. That'd be pretty fun.
Imagine if they put a Coyote in it and twin turbocharge that.
Pretty
Called the
radical.
EcoBeast.
The Eco Beast.
I like that. I like that a lot.
All right. Well, it's time for Jordan Steele's Deals and Disasters. What do you got for us this week?
Oh, we're going to take a peek at a 1990 F-150. It is far from
Sounds
stock,
basic.
and this falls
is this a
into
basic truck?
yeah, it's basic, never modified, EPA compliant. Actually,
Smog compliance.
sorry, yeah, can't say the 3-letter word or they're gonna come knocking. Just because I looked at the ad. All right, here we go. Pre-runner
like it.
F-150. I like it. A lot of people don't like the 1990 body style. I don't mind it. It's not my top 2 choice, but I'd drive this car. I'd drive this truck.
For those that are just listening, do you want to describe what we're looking at?
I will. We've got a 1990 F-150, fairly stock body here, built up as kind of a pre-runner, but a pretty modest stock body looking pre-runner. We got a 351 in it. Some tube work on the back. He's got 14-inch coilovers and 16-inch bypass shocks in the back. Running, you got a Curry 9-inch in the back. It's actually 4-wheel drive too, which I like. I'm assuming being an F-150, it's probably a Dana 44 TTB in the front. I like it. It's not your pretty boy pre-runner that you're gonna see down at Cars and Coffee. It's looks like it's seen some jumps, seen some airtime over
Yeah,
the
I think
years.
so.
Experienced.
It's an extended
Yeah,
cab, 6-foot bed truck. It's got dual tanks. Uh, Definitely the rear bed is gone effectively. I mean, it's still there. It looks like it's got a bed, but it's replaced with tube work. Um, which the tube work is looks like it's very well done. The
I I like that they kept the dual fuel necks or the filler doors in the bed, but there are no fuel
Yeah,
tanks
there's no
behind
in
those.
there's a fuel cell all the way at the rear that is I bet it's connected to the rear fuel door.
I don't
Yeah,
think so. I think
yeah.
it's sitting too high
Oh, you think
Yeah.
for
so?
sure.
Yeah, you're right. Um,
But yeah,
no, but it looks good. The interior is relatively gutted. The you have Does it have a roll cage?
no, he's states he started getting the cab to put a roll cage in it, but didn't have time.
Yeah,
So this would be something you'd have to, if you were really gonna push this thing to its limits, I'd be putting a cage in it for sure.
cage in it. Yeah, but
Which
it
there's a lot of pre-pop or pre-made options for these trucks. They're getting pretty popular in the budget pre-runner industry.
Yeah, and that's mostly because of that twin traction beam front end. It looks like so it's got like Corbo racing seats in the front, and then it looks like it's like white with a I want to say it's like a primer two tone. Like the lower half looks like a primer to me.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest vehicle out there, but
Not the prettiest truck, but very functional.
I don't know. Is
Pre-runners
asking
aren't
for
meant to be pretty.
no.
No, they're not. I
Rattle
bet this
can's a
thing's.
nice touch up later
I
on.
think. Yeah, I think this thing would be fun. This would be a fun truck. Looks like a big old antenna on the roof, and
Yeah, I mean you're not going to be doing 100 miles an hour over the whoops and stuff like that in this thing, but you'd have some fun. It'd be a good way to get into some dirt running and stuff like that on a fairly decent budget at 14,000. I mean, I don't
You
think you
can't
could
pay
build
that for
this
all the.
truck.
I was gonna say you
Yeah,
can't build that back half for that.
no, I don't think you could, especially if you're paying somebody to do it. If you're, I, for that price, you'd probably be in the 20-25 range just to do this to an existing pickup. So I, I think this is a steal.
steel. We're in the steel category today.
I'm calling this a steal.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, like you said, it's not the prettiest, but it's also a pre-runner. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be function over anything. And I think for 14 grand, you can have a ton of fun in this truck.
Yeah,
You could
it,
get yourself into some really awesome experiences with this truck.
it's not so wide that you need a deck over to haul it somewhere if you're going to the dunes or something like that. So I like it.
Yeah.
It's not your everyday build on this.
No, and honestly, it looks like to me, what I see is it looks like it was built right. Like it looks like it was built well.
Yeah, I'd have to take a closer look at it and see. I'm sure there's stuff you'd have to do, but I want it. I need it.
It's a
Cool.
good. What size tires is it running?
It's running 37s.
37s. It
Holy
doesn't look
smokes.
like it's on 37s, man.
I know.
It looks
That looks really good.
good.
They're tucked in pretty well. They've done some work to it. I mean, they went to the 5/8 stud on 5 lug axles, so you're got a little beefier lug stud there. You're not going to shear that off when you go off a 2-footer. So,
Yeah, no, I like it.
calling it a steal.
Steel. All right, I think this is your first steal.
It might be. Might be.
All right, well, with that, Spencer, what's Spencer's nickel today, or Spencer's 2 cents?
Spencer's 2 cents today is brought to you by our discussion earlier. If you're looking for something, especially in a very saturated market, do your research to try and help yourself out from a headache. And most of all, don't trust the government. And that today is Spencer's 2 cents.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, even YouTube, all the works. Anywhere where you can find a podcast, you'll be able to find us. Give us a like, hit that subscribe button if you really enjoy listening to us. We're putting episodes out as fast as us hardworking men can, which is right now is about every 2 weeks. So enjoy what we've put out for you, and if you got any feedback for us, give it to us straight up. We don't like foo-foo comments. We like as is. So put
No
it as
sugar
straight as
syrup.
you can. Throw some comments in there. Throw in any stories you have about tires, and let us know what Force GT you think is best. So thank you so much for listening, and have yourself a wonderful day.